I wonder if today you could break someone out of the script that they're running. Most of us, out of necessity, run a script. What I mean by that is we go through our day basically on autopilot unless something happens intentionally to bring us out of it. Pay attention the next time you go through a drive-through, or you order something at a restaurant, or you have an interaction with a cashier at the grocery store or at the big box store. Anywhere you go where you run into people, you come close to another individual and you bump into them. If you need to say something, it's almost always a script. I'll give you an example of a script that gets run on me constantly. Some people, people are always saying like, "How you doing today?" Right? And my go-to answer is no complaints. It's a complete lie, but it's what I say because we always have something to say. Some people say, "I'm doing so good, so far so good," or I knew a man in college that used to say, "Better than I deserve." Right? That's a Dave Ramsey thing. Better than I deserve. These are just scripts. They're things that we automatically say in response to things that other people say. They're not genuine conversation. They're just scripts to get us through our day. And so I'll say to someone, no complaints. And then they'll respond. You know what they're going to respond. They'll respond by saying, well, it wouldn't do any good because no one's listening anyway. And we both laugh and then we go on about our business. And it feels like a genuine interaction, but it's actually not. Because if I can say that same thing to 5 people and 4 out of 5 people respond in the exact same way, I'm just running a script. This happens in church. You meet someone in the aisle, you say, "How are you doing today?" "Fine, how are you?" And you smile and you move on. You haven't actually had a genuine conversation. And I'm not downplaying that. Again, we run scripts out of necessity because we do need to go throughout our day and get things done. You can't stop every moment of every day to have genuine, heartfelt, in-depth conversations with people. But it is nice from time to time to break people out of their script and make a genuine human connection. And it's a lot easier than you might think it is. All you have to do is look for something about that person to engage them in conversation, or develop a question that's not a normal question that might prompt something other than the general script answer. If what you say is a script, they're going to respond with a script. If you want to have a genuine conversation, have a genuine interaction, you're going to need to say something outside of the ordinary. Last week I went into a Starbucks and I was looking for someone to have a genuine conversation with. I looked around, there weren't very many people in there, but there was a lady who was dressed very sharp. She looked like she was a business lady. She was sitting at one of the tables. She had a pen and a notepad, and she had her iPad up, and she had her coffee there, and she was like, "Don't interrupt me, Well, you're the only one in here, so it looks like I'm going to have a short, genuine conversation with you if I can." As I walked past her, I noticed that she had on a pair of snakeskin cowboy boots. And I thought to myself, you don't see those every day. Then I said, that's it. That's my opening. And so I said to this lady, "You don't see cowboy boots like that in southern Maine very often." And she looked up and something switched in her eyes. She realized she was talking to another human being. She got out of her digital world, out of her head, and her eyes switched and she smiled and she said, "I'm from Colorado." And so we started having a conversation about how a lady from Colorado ends up in southern Maine and what kind of work that she does. People enjoy being asked about themselves in relatively non-intrusive ways. And we had about a 5-minute conversation. And I got her business card because the business that she's in, I was interested in. I said, "Hey, do you have a card?" Which means now I have her name and email address. And when I got home later, I sent her a nice email to say, "It was so great connecting with you today. Thanks for that conversation. Keep wearing those cowboy boots." I don't know whether or not that's going to make any difference in the future. And it's immaterial, really. The point is, you can have a genuine conversation with people and make a genuine human connection with an absolute stranger if you just take a little bit of time to be purposeful about it. I spend a lot of time in coffee shops. A lot of my stories revolve around coffee. But at a restaurant recently, the waitress, I noticed some tattoos that she had on her arm that were interesting to me. I something, there's got to be a story behind why the person would have that tattoo. And most people that have tattoos, there's stories behind them. They're broadcasting to the world Something happened in my life, either something tragic or something memorable or someone that I love. And so I'm always, or just something that's very important to them, a belief that's very important to them. And so I love it when I'm interacting with someone that has a visible tattoo because I can ask them about it. And people actually like to talk about it in most cases. And so I said to this waitress, I said, that's an interesting tattoo. There's got to be a story behind that. Would you mind sharing it? And over the course of our interactions, as she was, filling my water or bringing the food, we talked a little bit back and forth about that tattoo, and I learned a little bit about her and her story. Human connection is valuable for a couple of reasons. One, because we're human and we're made for connection. And two, because there are a lot of people who go through their entire day and never have a genuine human connection, and they feel lonely. You can feel lonely in a crowd. There are people that will go to their synagogue or to their local church, or they'll go to, PTA meeting or a school board meeting or any number of places where people gather together. They'll go sit in a coffee shop with a whole bunch of people and never talk to anyone else. And they'll go through their entire day, and at the end of the day, they feel alone. None of us are truly alone, so why do we feel like it? Oftentimes, because we're not having genuine human connections. And you, if you would, have the power to make someone's day better than it was by showing some interest and some targeted attention in a non-creepy way, hopefully, to people that you interact with. And I love to do this, and I believe it makes a difference. So I want to encourage you today, make a goal. Here it is Monday. I'm releasing this at lunchtime. Make a goal this week of having one genuine interaction with a complete stranger sometime in the next 7 days. And then drop a comment or reach out to me and let me know how that went. I would love to hear your story of it. You can make a difference in somebody's life, and you can lift somebody's spirits. Solomon said in the book of Proverbs that heaviness in the heart of man makes it droop or makes it stoop. It's heavy. But a good word makes it glad. Make it your goal to have a genuine human connection and help someone to smile. We could use a lot more of that these days. All right, now you go live your story, and I'll see you next week.